Hey, yo, holy. What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at WiseTake.com if you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level. We are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out at WiseTake.com. Day Pass is available to try us out. That being said, if you're new to this channel, welcome. You come to the right place for some free DFS content, some fire DFS content at that. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we put out. Got some dirty mode going on with NBA. That's behind the paywall, but we are doing free content for MLB 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, that is. So don't miss out. Come get it. Come get it. Once NBA dies down, I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to do the show the night before, give people some more time to look at it, give us an earlier preparation, so that now we're just waiting for lineups and just kind of just making our decisions and pondering, if you will. So that's kind of where we're at. We'll kick up the MLB content even more once we get some NBA settling down. Right now, we're just doing two sports, double fist and everything. It's just it's a beautiful thing, but it's a lot of work, man. It's intense, and hopefully it's going well for you guys. It's going well for me. It seems like I'm doing well in one. If I have a bad day in the other, the other one kind of picks me up. The other day I had a real rough MLB day, but then NBA kind of picked me up. So it's awesome, man. Just loving the grind, and I'm sure you are too. If you enjoy DFS, this is what you live for, right? This, and then the NFL NBA grind, which is also a grind, but a pretty solid one at that. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. We got Mr. Joe Musgrove, most expensive pitcher on both sites, rightfully so. Coming off a no-hitter, he's been just phenomenal, and he's playing Milwaukee, man. He's at home, which is a better pitching park than Miller Park. And he's playing Milwaukee, a team that strikes out a ton. In the past, I've been a little reluctant on going too heavy on pitchers coming off of a game like that where they were just like elite. Usually it has something to do with the pitch counts. Like if they pitched, if they threw like way more pitches than, they should have. But I guess his no-hitter came on. So here's an example of that, right? It's already passed, right? But here's an example of that. So on the 9th is when he threw his. That was when he threw his no-hitter? Yes. Okay. So the 9th, April 9th, against Texas. I'm seeing here 9 innings, no hits, 10 Ks, 10 ground balls for 112 pitches, which is significantly higher than he's thrown, right? Probably ever, to be honest with you. Next game against Pittsburgh, he went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, a home run, 2 walks, 6 Ks, 81 pitches. So the good thing is we got that start out of the way. I think that clears the way. Now that he's had a start in between, it kind of clears the way for him to pitch today. Now, mind you, even though he only threw 4 innings, he still put up 15 DraftKings points, but 81 pitches, and that was probably due to the fact that he threw 112 pitches in his previous start. So it's a good thing that he's already gotten a start out of the way. This is his second start since the no-hitter. That being said, I don't see how we don't love this, right? Like I said, he's at home. He's playing Milwaukee. Milwaukee's offense has been waking up a little bit, but they still strike out a ton. So I would think that bodes well for Mr. Joe Musgrove. Now, one thing I'll say about Milwaukee that I want to look into right now with y'all is they do have a lot of lefties. So let's take a look and see how Joe Musgrove does against lefties. You know what he does? He destroys lefties. 262 ISO, 151 WOBA. I'm sorry, 262 WOBA, 151 ISO. Not that different from righties. He is better against righties, but it's not that different. So, yeah, high strikeout rates, low ISOs, low WOBAs. Looks like Musgrove is the elite option. I didn't want to make him the thumbnail again because I just recently did that. So I made it Dustin May, who I think we're gonna talk about next. So I think is also pretty good. pitcher here. That being said, let's get into Mr. Dustin May. 2.54 ERA, 3.98 xFIP, 4.29 SIERA. This is last year's numbers. He's looked even better this year. He has. He's looked improved this year. The dude throws gas, throws really hard. Let's see. He's facing a Seattle offense that between last year and this year actually had some positive ISO numbers against lefties, man. Mitch Haniger had a 300 ISO, 420 WOBA. Ty France, 180 ISO, 402 WOBA. This Marmelojos, I don't know. Marmelojas, I don't know. 243 ISO. However, they do strike out a lot. So you got guys like Haniger, Seager, Crawford who have very low strikeout rates. But then you have France at 25%. The Marmelos, we just talked about, 29%. Evan White, 42%. Moore, 32%. Trammell, 42%. Murphy, 30%. So this team does strike out a lot, right? And Mays looked better. Do I think because I made the cover? Listen, ignore the cover letter. I do it so that people understand the slate is relevant. And sometimes I'll try to make it if I really like the pitcher that day. But don't get hung up, man. I'm still most likely playing Musgrove over May, right? Thumbnail is just a little something that people know that this is the slate. You know what I'm saying? But I do like Dustin May. I do. The issue on DraftKings is playing them together is going to be rough. But you could argue the same thing about Brandon Woodruff, who is 9K on DraftKings, 9.6 on FanDuel. So far, you're in a situation where you know the ownership's going to be lower on these other guys. You know Musgrove's going to be the chalk today. He's got to be, right? So I guess the advantage to May from a game theory perspective is potential ownership. Same thing for Brandon Woodruff. Getting an opportunity to get him at a lower ownership than we normally do. Partially because May and Musgrove are also on the slate competing for that ownership, and mostly because he's playing the Padres. So whereas Musgrove is playing Milwaukee, on the other side of that game, Woodruff's got to play the Padres, a pretty good team, right? And you can see last year, 341 WOBA, 209 ISO, one of the better numbers on the slate, right? One of the better numbers on the slate. Yeah, it's true. Who's got the better numbers? Who's the only team on the slate with better numbers? The Dodgers. That's right, the Dodgers. But I think Woodruff also for tournaments is interesting. Maybe we can find enough value with the bats to be able to play a Musgrove Woodruff or a Musgrove May. But we have some other things we could at least try, such as Jack Flaherty. Flaherty has not looked so solid. I think Flaherty is a really good pitcher. I've been a little disappointed to see how he started the season. I have high expectations for this dude. I think he's good, right? Issue number one is he's playing the Nationals. The Nationals can be tough to strike out. They can strike out, especially when you have, and Flaherty, I'm speaking of a 13.4% swinging strike rate. He's got the stuff, right? He can strike out lefties too. But the Nationals themselves aren't the biggest strikeout team. You got Josh Bell at 26%, Schwarber at 26%, Robles, if he's in there, 30.7%. After that, you got like Harrison, 9.6%, Trey Turner, 15.3%, Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in the game, 13.4%, even Starlin Castro, 19.8%, Gomes, 19.8%, right on the cusp, right on the cusp. But from a price perspective, I think we are getting, it's tempting, right? We've talked about these good pitchers that are all expensive and maybe tough to pair with Musgrove on DraftKings, and you got Flaherty who makes things a little bit easier. And on FanDuel, if bats are your priority, you've got Flaherty just kind of tempting you because he does have the potential upside, right? It's just he doesn't seem to be in the best form. Looking at his most recent starts, I mean, his last two games are pretty solid. And one of them, he did just play the Nationals. Keep that in mind. He did just play the Nationals. Went 5 innings, 6 Ks, 1 earned run, 1 for 22. You'll take that at this price. That's DraftKings scoring, of course. You'll take that at this price, right? At 8.5, especially as an SP2. We've got him projected for 18.85 right now, which is probably a little low. So, yeah, I think Flaherty could be a popular SP2. We can end up seeing him paired with Musgrove a lot. And I think that's why we'll see May and Woodruff's ownership go down, because I think Musgrove is like the alpha, right? So who's the beta alpha to pair with him? Probably a guy that's going to be a little easier to do it with. You know what I'm saying? Joe Ross, we don't have stats for last season, but we can take a look at what he's done. He's actually done pretty good. So his first game was against the Dodgers, very tough offense, 5 innings, 2 hits, 4 Ks. He's not a big strikeout guy, only threw 67 pitches, 1 for 16. Against St. Louis, we just saw this matchup, 6 innings, 5 Ks, no earned runs, very comparable game to Flaherty. I'm really not a Joe Ross guy, You know, I mean, I remember going to a live game and watching the Mets beat up on him. Lucas Duda hitting double donging on him, and the Mets won the game. It was glorious. It was beautiful. It was phenomenal. But I'll admit he's looked decent. He's looked decent. The biggest issue I have with Joe Ross is while he's currently holds a 22.5% strikeout rate, and the Cardinals, like this season, they've been striking out more than usual. He's only got a 7.1% swinging strike rate, and that's kind of his MO, right? He's got a 214 BAB. I think he's been very lucky, and I think that any day now, maybe it's not the Cardinals, because last year they weren't the best offense. Maybe it's not the Cardinals, but I think any day now, he's going to kind of fall apart and regress back to the Joe Ross that we know. I'm going to look him up on FanGraphs real quick. I just want to see a couple things. Don't mind the typing. Keyboard warrior status. Smash, smash, smash on that keyboard. So yeah, he didn't pitch in 2020. 2019, 9 starts. Had a 4.64 walk rate. Not a good season for him. Let me see here. Yeah, he had a 5.09 xFIP in 2019. That was the last full season he pitched. I honestly think that's kind of more where he is. Maybe not that high. Maybe somewhere in like 4.5 range. Maybe. But I honestly think that's kind of really where he is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see. Maybe it's not today, like I said, but at some point, wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of fall apart a little more. Dylan Bundy against Texas. Mr. Bundy. We know Bundy's got a lot of strikeout upside. Last year was kind of like a bounce back year for him. I mean, you got an extreme fly ball pitcher that was pitching in Baltimore. That's just rough. He went out there to a better park and he's played a whole lot better. He's playing a Ranger offense that has been improved this year, but still doesn't look great. Right? They still don't look great. I'm not convinced. Bundy, 13.1% swinging strike rate last year. This Rangers offense, in particular against righties, depending on what we see, you've got Kenner Falafa, who's been leading off for them, only has a 16.2% K rate. Now, he also had a .092 ISO and a 274 WOBA. I'm not going to talk so much about that. The most important thing about this is, while Bundy is an extreme fly ball pitcher, he is facing a team that has some relatively high ground ball rates individually. We got like 64%, 45.5%, 48 for Solak, 48 for Calhoun, 50 for Holt, 45 for Taveras. That's relatively high for a major league club, right? Especially in a world where teams now prioritize fly balls, right? Teams like the Oakland A's and all that shit made that shit a reality. But he's at home. He's playing a Ranger team that is not all that imposing. Last year, this projected lineup had a combined 121 ISO. The only person with a positive ISO was Nate Lau at 282. 367 WOBA. Joey Gallo, super disappointing season last year. Struck out a ton, which he always does. He didn't do the other part, right? He's either strike out or homer, he just didn't do the homer part that much. He struggled. So I think Bundy is more than viable. I think he's solid. Now, 9K on FanDuel, I mean, you have an ownership argument there if you want it. Yeah, he was talking about how he's going to be low owned. That's why I tried it. Nah. Okay. But on DraftKings at 7.7, I think he's interesting, and I think he could end up carrying. I think ownership wise, maybe he won't be as high as maybe he should be, considering the matchup, considering the strikeout rate. It's a possibility. Maybe he will. But I think Bundy's definitely in play for an SP2. So like I said, we have options here. We do have options. Josh Fleming against the Royals in Kansas City, one of the best pitching parks in the game. Even though no matter how you slice it, both these parks are really good for pitching. So looking at Fleming, the first thing that stands out to me about this guy is his ground ball rate. 63.5% ground ball rate. That's elite, man. Now, do we have a full season that we're working with? No, but it's still elite. Looking at the Royals offense, it's really mixed, man. You got a few guys that strike out a ton, a couple guys that don't strike out much at all. You got a few guys that have shown tremendous power against lefties, and you got some guys who have not. Very up and down, a mixed bag, if you will. So the ground ball rates help, especially in a big park like this. The downside is Fleming is not really a big strikeout dude. He's got going back to last year, an 8.6% swinging strike rate, a 19.2% strikeout rate. So that's the downside, is the ceiling. Now, he is extremely cheap, especially on FanDuel. It's $6,200. Now, you're sacrificing a lot of ceiling by trying to take a chance. If you're playing Fleming on FanDuel, you're more or less hoping that the other pitchers suck, right? Because if they all do what they do, yeah, you're paying like half the price for Fleming that you would for Musgrove, but you're probably getting like less than half the fantasy output as well, right? On DraftKings is where you would want to consider him a little bit more, especially because quality start's not really a thing. He only threw 84 pitches and has only had one start this year, and that was against Texas, right? The issue, of course, is you're not relying on strikeouts. And when you're not relying on strikeouts, strikeouts are king in MLB DFS. If you're not relying on strikeouts, that makes me nervous. I like guys that can strike people out. But he's in play. Danny Duffy can't strike people out. He does have some strikeout stuff. 23.6% doesn't look all that high, but we know over his career he's been more of a strikeout guy, right? The problem is his xFIP and Sierra have been bad. He's a very fly ball type pitcher, right? And he's playing the Rays, one of the more polarizing offenses in the game, man. These Rays, the projected lineup out for the Rays right now, 206 combined average ISO. However, a 26% strikeout rate. So which one wins out today? That's the question here. Duffy's been very tough on lefties throughout his career, but he's given up power to righties, and that's going to happen when you give up a lot of fly balls and you're a left-handed pitcher. But again, the park is good. I actually think that I would attempt to use Duffy over Fleming simply because strikeouts are king, and I think Duffy's got more potential for strikeouts, not just because of him, but because of the matchup. I think that the Rays, we know strike out. The Royals could be iffy, especially against lefties, but we know the Rays are going to strike out. Just a matter of how much. You got this big park working for you. So I'm interested in Duffy, 7K. So again, a few guys that we can fuck around with cheap. A few guys we can mess around with and see where it goes. On the flip side of this, you can also stack the Rays tonight because Duffy is a fly ball guy. If we get any sort of that, any sort of that Rays team that comes. This is a team that did go to the World Series last year. Keep that in mind, right? We're going to keep that in mind. However, looking at it now, it does look like we potentially have 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from left field. Big positive for both these guys, but especially Duffy. And then it's like 51 degrees, so it's not like warm or anything like that. So I think Duffy's a go. Chase Anderson. Let's take a look at Mr. Chase Anderson. Pulling up some Philly. Chase Anderson faces the Giants. The Giants' offense is better than people think. This is a big park boost for the Giants. The Giants normally play at home in a huge park. They're now going to Philly, which is a smaller park that has played even smaller this season. Chase Anderson, another fly ball guy. I know 36.5% doesn't seem great, but you consider his ground ball rate's only 36.5. That means he gives up a lot of line drives and a lot of fly balls. And he's playing, like I said, a Giant offense that's getting a park boost, and a Giant offense that has some guys that can hit it out against righties. They have some power. Tommy La Stella, 7% K rate, 194 ISO, 281 WOBA, should be leading off. Yastrzemski, 257 ISO, 387 WOBA. Dickerson, 268 ISO, 376 WOBA. Brandon Belt last year had a 315 ISO and a 444 WOBA, 20.8% strikeout rate. There's potential here. Definitely big time potential here. I like the Giants offense. They burned me a bunch this year. They really have. I keep playing them against lefties and they've been sucking ass. But they literally have different lineups for lefties and righties, like almost like a totally different team. And so one side's been failing me. I'm going to give it a shot with the other side, man. I'm going back to the Giants today. I sure as Fook ain't pitching Mr. Chase Anderson. And now I'm speaking poorly of the guy. The guy has some strikeout stuff. 11.7% swinging strike rate. Need to point that out. 24.7% K rate last year. We got to point that out. But the potential is too strong. Gives up a lot of fly balls. You know what I mean? A lot of fly balls. And at one time, he was pretty reverse splitsy. Now he just kind of sucks to everybody. Straight up. And he struggles to strike out lefties a little bit more. Kevin Gausman against Philly, man. This dude's got some strikeout shit. I mean, he's looked really good since going to the Giants. This guy just seems underpriced. Now, granted, the problem with Gausman is he gives up a lot of hard contact. He just played the Reds at home in his little small bar and his huge park, and the Reds lit him up for 5 runs. However, the reason I think he's still underpriced on DraftKings is despite all that, he still struck out 7 and went 6 innings, only throwing 90 pitches. So that was somewhat of a recovery, 13.9 DraftKings points. He put up a 22 against Seattle, a 20 against San Diego, and then a 13.9 against Cincinnati. That was his first home start after getting lit up. So now he's playing a Philly offense that, granted, is a pretty decent offense and can be very tough to strike out. I'm not denying that. But I think pitchers with good strikeout shit could get him, right? 21% in the projected lineup. So I think Gausman is a phenomenal option on the cheap. I really do. Like, it almost seems like you got, and again, this is kind of why I think that we'll see May and Woodruff ownership go a little lower, is because you got all these potential people on DraftKings you could pair with Musgrove. And on FanDuel, you could save money with a lot of these guys, significant money with a lot of these guys. You know, you go down to May and Woodruff on FanDuel, you're saving some money, but again, you've got some guys that you can save money with, like Gausman, and maybe not so much, right? Because the price disparity is not that great. Jack Flaherty's 8.8. It's not that off from Woodruff and them guys, so maybe not so much on FanDuel. But I think on DraftKings, it's interesting to think about. Like, Gausman is 8,500 on FanDuel, 6.6 on DraftKings. I'm gonna have a lot of Gausman today. I can tell you that right now. Justice Sheffield against the Doyers. Tough spot for the kid. Dodgers have been phenomenal. They've been red fucking hot. Just doing dirties, dropping sevens all day. Sheffield, not a big strikeout guy. 20.7%. We're talking about a 8.2% swing and strike rate. It's not his game. Ground balls, that's been a strength of his. It's been a strength of his. He is a lefty. Historically, we typically like to attack the Dodgers with a right. You know, we like to. The Dodgers are typically better against righties. What I'm trying to say. But they've improved. I mean, that whole just 2 or 3 years ago, they were terrible against lefties. That narrative has changed. Justin Turner's balling out this season. Chris Taylor, good numbers against lefties. Pollard, good numbers against lefties. Mookie Betts surprisingly had really bad numbers last year against lefties, but that's not really a thing. I don't think. I really don't think that's a thing. Right? You got Will Smith coming on the scene. We are missing Cody Bellinger, but it is what it is. The Dodgers are still getting it done, still doing dirties, dropping sevens. Sheffield's a sinker baller. Justin Turner, really strong ISO against the sinker. Taylor, really strong. Even Max Muncy, lefty sinkers, strong numbers. And this dude pretty much just throws sinkers and sliders. That's his game. He'll throw some changeups to righties, but the sinker is his fastball. Right, so the Dodgers definitely in play. Not interested in Sheffield. We got too many other good pitchers for me to get this dirty with him. Rangers. I've been dead wrong on this Arihara kid. I don't think I'm wrong in the process. I think I'm just been wrong with the timing. He's been escaping. He's got a 40% fly ball rate to righties and a 48% hard contact rate to righties. So I truly feel like he's been just escaping. It's been a pain in my ass. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I'm just waiting for it to end. We've got that's to righty. So he's kind of showing some reverse splits. Let's keep that in mind. I don't see his pitch types. I'm gonna actually look him up. I just gotta fucking remember it. Okay, I got it right here. Arihara. I want to see. Let's see what kind of pitches he throws. As the why he's had reverse. I mean, it's a small sample, so we don't want to judge anything just yet. But I just want to see. Not really. I mean, he really mainly just throws his fastball, a little bit of cutter, a little bit of slider, change up. So I don't know if that holds true. I don't know if we should be considering that as a strong. I'm gonna attack him again. I mean, dude don't strike anybody out. He's got a 12.3% strikeout rate with a 7.4% swing and strike rate. His xFIP is 4.82 right now. I don't think this guy's any good. He's escaped. He's escaped. I think through. 2 starts? He's had 3 starts and he's escaped. We gave up 3 earned runs against Kansas City in his first start, 2 against San Diego, through 4 innings, which really isn't that bad for him. Then he came out and balled out against the Rays, man. 5 Ks against the Rays. That's what the Rays can do. That's why I'm going to try out some Duffy. But, yeah, I mean, I like the Angels offense. I can tell you that right now. I'm not backing down from this dude. I'm not backing down from this dude. No. But anyway, nation, that's gonna do it for us today. I appreciate y'all hanging out, doing dirties. Pretty good slate. We got NBA later too, so a lot to get through. Back on the grind for the week. It's Monday. Let's get it started the right way. Don't forget to check us out at WiseTake.com if you want to advance your DFS game, right? Improve it. I write a core plays article. Our projections are over there. I just posted them for baseball. We got the same shit going on for basketball, and continue to do what we do at WiseTake.com. We got the Slack chat. We're going to be, once NBA dies down, we're going to be utilizing that way more. And next NBA season, we're going to kind of revamp the product a little bit. And point is, we want to be more involved in our chats. I'm trying to get on the Discord game if I can get it linked up to our membership software. But in the meantime, we're using Slack. until I get that straightened out. And maybe I'll never get it straightened out. We'll have to see. But I appreciate y'all. Please hit the like button on your way out. Share the show. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.